Ah, shit. This episode of Defective Discourse has been brought to you by our patrons. Here at BRG, we'd like to thank those patrons who have subscribed and donated. It is because of generosity like yours that makes this show possible.
Defective Discourse. Welcome to the show where we talk about the topics that matter to you. Video games, media, technology, all starting now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On that note, we are starting live.
Too bad we don't have like pre-show because you guys have a lot of fun digging with us. Anyways, hey guys, welcome to the episode of Defective Discourse, a wonderful show where we take some time around the table with us, our guests, and you, the people in the chat, to talk about a topic that we feel near and dear to our heart, or watch your rant about, or something of that nature. Just so you guys know, we are a small piece of the puzzle that is a BRG or Bottle Rocket Gaming community, and you can find out so much more over at bottlerocketgaming.com. I definitely encourage you do that, so make sure you do that and you can find out more later. Also worth note, we are a wonderful group of people that is kind of sponsored by, cared for by, and loved by you guys. So please make sure you hit that little follow button up there in the top for the stream, or the subscribe button down below if you watch us on YouTube. And if you want to kick money our way, we do have the ability to donate to us both through Patreon and PayPal. We'll tell you about that later. Tonight, guys, we're going to have a whole bunch of fun here when it comes to talking about the wonders of mobile gaming. Yeah, it's gotten interesting. I do have a little bit of an announcement. I'm going to say at the top just to get out of the way, so we're done and we can move on with things. Just so you guys know, unfortunately, due to life being life as it is, this is actually going to be my last time on the show as a host. So I'm going to leave this show.
Cheers.
I know. I'm going to leave this show in the capable hands of my wonderful co-hosts Kirok and Kamonzi here, and they're going to keep the flame lit. Keep things going. I'm sorry. Hey, so Kirok, Kirok, we have people tonight. Tell us all about these wonderful people.
All right. So first off, welcome, guys. Welcome for coming and spending your time with us and watching. And hopefully you'll get something out of this. Yeah, well, why not? So tonight we have Component Z, who's here as well, regular host as usual, myself, and then we also have Jarrett from Team Chat Podcast. He's everybody right at the bottom in the corner. And then we also have, and these guys have been on the BRG podcast previously, Des and Fox from Des and Fox Plays Games. So there they are, those guys there. So yeah,
the enthusiasm of it.
Yeah,
thanks.
Enthusiasm, guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. I really appreciate that.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're glad to be here.
All right, cool. So I guess without any further ado, we'll just get into the main topic, or the topic. We're going to talk about mobile gaming, but more so mobile gaming phones. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
CZ? Yeah. So specifically how games have evolved on phones, and in turn how phones have evolved due to games. So the one thing that I do want to mention is we're not going to be, even though it's mobile gaming, we're not going to concentrate on mobile devices such as, say, the Switch, the Vita, PSP. We want specifically to talk about how cell phones, actual smartphones, modern day smartphones, and not so modern, like where it all started, evolved in gaming. So at this point, first one is actually, I thought I got the first one, but I think Warped went in through another topic in ahead of it, which shows the first mobile gaming phone introduced back in 1994.
I have that one too. I have that one.
Where is you have? What do you mean? You physically have it?
Hell yeah!
What a great prop.
That's amazing.
I never find what I wanted, but yeah, no, I actually have the original Nokia. It's the 5110. Component Z can pull that up for a picture. You guys will get a blast from the past. So
Is that the one that's like a brick that like is just like
you
unstoppable?
can't kill it. I swear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't I just see a
not
video
like-
of somebody actually shooting one and it didn't break? I'm pretty sure that just showed up on
No.
somewhere.
Okay, yeah.
They shot the phone and killed the person.
That's right.
I'm pretty sure like armor-piercing rounds are actually old Nokia 511Os because they are just about that bulletproof. Dude, they're like scary solid. I don't know where, but
Yeah.
now I'm set.
It's like Black
can't find
Panther's
it?
arbor. Black
So
Panther's
my-
arbor. It
my
absorbs
favorite part
it
of that
and then
phone-
puts out.
My favorite part of that phone is you could charge that thing overnight and run it for a month.
That is so true. So going on with the article here, it shows that the first gaming phone was actually a form of Tetris that came on a mobile phone, the Hagnuk MT2000.
Yeah,
yes,
so
the old
this
Hagnu.
is another one that this is one of those component needs to bring up the picture of this phone. This thing looks just
Oh, I
all
see.
ancient.
I see. It's
I
linked
think
in there.
I think I put a link in there.
Yeah,
Something, but
you did.
the phone looks ancient as hell, and it's actually had a form of Tetris on, which is not exactly shocking. If you ever want to see, like, if aliens land and want to know the history of mankind, all they gotta do is look up Tetris. If you look up
Oh, for
Tetris,
real.
for example, like Tetris music, you will know about every single type of music in existence because there'll be a Tetris cover, in that.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed. But
Tetris
more
is
importantly,
metal. I'm sure it's a thing.
the first official game made for a mobile device, a mobile game, was the game of Snake on that
there we go.
Nokia
Played a whole lot of
5110.
Snake on cell phones.
God, I put way too much time on that
So
game.
so I missed that because I never
I
had a
s-
Nokia.
I sucked at that
God.
game, and I played it every day.
You have a shitty pad, a number pad to move the snake around. You get the little pixels, and your snake keeps growing bigger and bigger to the point where you're trying desperately not to run into your body,
Tail, yeah.
but still get there's a specific way you have to do it to. Anyways, so
Going to spare.
there you go. There's the birth of mobile gaming. It's old news apparently because this is back in 1994. So I'm not even sure why we're even fucking bothering to talk about this.
Okay, no,
Because
I'm-
it's fun.
Then.
because it gives a foundation. So go ahead.
Old
go ahead.
news.
Yeah, but what's shocking to me is that this came out in '94, like you said, but it was like pre-Atari gameplay, like 1979 gameplay, and it drove people like insane. They're like, "Yes, like I want this. This is incredible.
Right.
I am a line that can grab squares, and that's incredible. Like,
Amazing.
there was
You
just
have to
something about
understand.
having
You have to
these things
understand.
on the go that was so cool.
This is back when a phone actually did basically two things. It made calls where you talk to somebody on the phone with your voice, or you text messaged.
Wait.
Called-
And remember, back in this day, when you text, it was 222
T9.
333.
Yeah, T9.
It
Oh,
was
man,
T9.
that's
You had
Good
all
forever.
the letters, like one was ABC, two was I mean, seriously, it was that bad. It was horrible. But if you're waiting in line at like Safeway getting some grub, like a couple liters of Mountain Dew, the stuff before energy drinks, you could play a quick round of Snake while you're waiting in line to kill time.
So one of the articles I digged up actually said that was released or appeared on the Nokia 6610 back in '97.
Yeah, they're wrong.
Okay.
I can tell you.
Okay.
First of all,
You said it was 94, right? 94?
Well, it's not even that. The one they note, the was it the 610?
Yeah,
6010? That was a phone that came out in 2004.
Really? Okay.
So the person in that article sputtered
has
up pretty
incorrected.
badly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at
Check
look
your
at the picture of the
sources.
phone. Seriously, look at the
Be
picture of the
honest, do
goddamn.
we want to trust some internet fool, or do we want to trust Warp Jester?
I have the phone.
I would go with Warp. He owned
Where's my
it, so
damn
I would
phone?
take his word over it.
Yeah.
Look at he's gonna go nuts trying to find it.
Dude, I'm gonna go freaking nuts here. Carry on.
But
So one of the
still
things,
there.
and I wanted to bring this up was, Snake. I remember Snake, but I didn't have it on the phone. I actually had it on the Palm Pilot. If any of you guys remember the Palm Pilot,
oh, I had
So-
one of those too.
There it is. Oh, wait.
No,
So-
that is not it.
That's not it.
not it.
That's an
that
iPhone.
is no
That's an iPhone.
That's the original
yeah.
iPhone right there, baby.
nice.
Ooh.
But the thing is the Palm Pilot came out initially as a personal digital assistant, so not really a phone. And our conversation in this in this episode is discussion of mobile and call capable devices.
Yeah.
So to be fair, they did release the Trio line, which was a mobile phone with the Palm Pilot OS.
And to be fair, I think there was an add-on pack for the 3 or the 5, like the 3X or the 5, that didn't give it the ability to do calls.
Cellular capability?
Yeah, there was an add-on pack for the.
That was an afterthought.
The
Essentially, yes.
I played video
gaming
games
was an
on.
afterthought in phones?
The first thing that I played video games on that was not a gaming device was the TI-83 calculator.
Oh my
That is
god.
actually
Play Mario
where
on
the
that thing.
Snake game came from. Was
From
actually
there?
from the Texas
Instrument.
Instruments calculator. Thank you.
No
Yes.
way. Okay, I had no idea about that.
Yeah,
I played so much Snake and Drug Wars. Drug Wars was the other thing that we did.
Oh
on
my
the
god!
yes.
There's
I'm
a
so
blast from
wasting
the past
time
for you.
that game.
So this is crazy because the very first phone I remember buying was like a Bell clamshell, and on that I can't even remember the games. In fact, I didn't consider it a gaming system. I just looked at it as a phone calling device.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, you can use the internet," and I'd look at it, and it was just nothing but words, and I was like, "This is not the internet."
No, you couldn't.
No,
I
you
don't care
couldn't.
about you saying.
I agree 100%
not.
with what you're saying. So the thing is most games that came on phones, such as the Nokia back in this day, they came out all preloaded. So they were already on the device. The game, the device, the actual phone would have a pre-select 2 or 3 games, Snake being one, possibly something else. And eventually they had established what was called or referred to in the late 90s as WAP, or Wireless Application Protocol. And this would allow a standardization of apps or mobile devices to connect to the internet. And this was actually kind of big with the Nokia.
I am convinced that he's not searching for anything anymore. He's just throwing
He's just throwing
stuff.
Gonna be far past this section of the conversation before this phone is
By the time it gets to the phone, the conversation's going to be as old as the phone itself.
right.
Hang on. So, what phones did you guys have? Look at them. What phones do you guys remember having with the first time, like you had an old phone that had a game or something on it?
I remember as a very young man being at dinner with my family, and my dad's boss, and he had a phone that had Snake on it.
Nice.
And then I literally just spent that entire meal just playing Snake.
On your dad's
My
boss
dad's
phone?
boss, because he was the wealthy guy. He had the phone. This was when cell phones weren't ubiquitous. Like,
Yeah.
I had one, and I played a game on it. A lot of that game.
It
How
was
about
the
you,
Nokia.
Jared?
Oh, go
You know,
ahead.
so I would say I don't remember the phone because honestly, like the first phone that was actually mine, I don't even remember what it was. It was just some flip phone. But my mom and dad both had it. Had to be some like singular flip phone also. Not like the Razor or anything like that, but it had a Prince of Persia game on it.
Oh, wow.
What?
Wow.
And not like a text-based adventure, like
No,
you see
like-
the sands of time.
It's pixel.
I'm trying to go through and figure out which one it is. But like it's not Prince of Persia Classic. I don't remember it, but yeah, it was. You could go through, and it might not even been the full game because I want to say at that point too, the games were all demos. You had to basically play for a little bit and then be like, now you gotta pay to download this. But I remember playing that one. I mean, obviously, like there was Snake and all that other stuff too. But I mean, I
Right.
played the Prince of Persia one more than any other. And then I even think it might have been my granddad's phone had some kind of car racing. It might have been Need for Speed.
Okay.
Nice.
I
But
think
again,
I remember
also on
having
these
a
flips,
phone, Need for
also on
Speed.
the flip zones. And so again, and it was the one that had the little circular menu, like you could directional keys were on like the circle button, so you could use that to
To
obviously, like
steer and okay.
steering like this,
Yeah,
just do
yeah,
it
That
stuff.
makes sense.
Yeah. So those are probably the earliest ones that I remember really playing on a mobile phone.
I just want to point out that
I
at
had a
one
new
point-
Kia back in the day, so I had Snake.
Nice.
Yeah, same thing for me. Snake.
I had one of the fancy Nokias. I had the one that you could take the faceplate off, take the keypad off, and replace it with different colors. And
Whoa.
I think I even had the
fancy.
brushed aluminum one.
Ooh. All right. You're better than
So-
that.
I haven't found the phone, but I found a really big ass bottle of vodka.
Nice. Crack it
Ooh.
open.
007.
That's good.
007
Oh.
edition.
Yeah.
So one of the cool things is once they finally did establish the online ability, it wasn't so much for multiplayer online as it was more for multiplayer turn-based, because phones back then couldn't do anything like nowadays with PUBG and Fortnite, for example. Yeah, so I did mention briefly the Palm Pilot and how the Palm Pilot eventually morphed into a phone, and of course that would have games on it. There's one and an OS. Oh my God, dude, was that a Klingon weapon?
I'm finding all kinds of interesting stuff, just not my goddamn phone.
Every
So-
time we lean into the camera, we get a good shot of a minion crotch. And
Yes.
So one of the games that I actually liked, and it was on the Palm, basically available on the mobile one, is called SF Cave. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. I was addicted. So it's basically, I have it on the iPhone. It's actually available on the iPhone now. It basically was a game where you're this ribbon, and if you press the screen, you go up. If you let go of the screen, you go
Oh.
down. So
Okay.
it's basically where Flappy Bird came from.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's just a ribbon going through a cave, and I was totally addicted to that. Totally addicted
I
to
remember
that.
playing similar games, not on the phone, but there was one online called Helicopter. It was the same thing. Played
Okay.
Now this next phone, I remember this.
Oh, okay.
I remember this phone. I've never had one.
Okay, so I'll get into what CZ is referring to. Okay, the first truly marketed gaming phone, in other words, a phone that hit the market, a cell phone that hit the market, which was touted as a game playing machine.
Are we talking
Hey,
about the taco phone?
You got
We
it.
are talking about
Yeah,
the
taco
phone.
Oh, that good
Taco,
Nokia
taco, taco.
Engage.
So Nokia
okay.
N-Gage, also known as the taco phone.
I gotta see what this is.
Wait,
What, you haven't heard of the taco phone?
and before
I'm a
I
young
switch
guy.
to the next picture,
Yeah.
do you guys? I know Warp knows, and I
Okay.
think Kurok knows, but do
Yeah.
the rest of you guys know how do you use that phone as a phone?
Oh, hold on. Jared.
No.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
hold on. Grab your phone. Grab your real phone.
Okay.
Now pretend it's the taco phone. Okay. Have you seen a picture of the taco phone
I'm,
yet?
I'm looking. I'm seeing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how would you hold that to your face to talk to it?
I mean, feels like it would be something like this, maybe, or
No.
No,
no,
No.
like this,
No.
like this.
that
That's
Better? No.
the
Colder?
speaker,
Hotter?
That's-
the
that's
speaker and the
rocks. You guys
microphone were on the edge.
Here and
like
here.
that.
Bottom of the taco.
Kirok, please demonstrate. Yeah.
So you would be, instead of doing this, you would be doing this.
I am a smart human.
And because of
We are not screwing with you people.
No, it's
I
so true.
swear to you.
absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
The shape of the phone
Yes.
and the fact that you would hold it sideways earned it the moniker the taco phone.
Taco phone.
So I actually, I was an assistant manager at a GameStop at this time while we were selling the N gauges. We got 5 units in, 1 got sold, and the other 4 just sat there collecting dust for literal years. But that one dude who bought the phone got games so cheap as time passed because
Yeah.
we just kept
Yeah.
putting discounts on. And this dude was like, he was so happy with his purchase, but nobody else gave a
He
crap.
was the one.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen anybody actually own one. I've seen them in
I
the wild.
haven't. I remember it being a demo in the stores, but I'd never
Yeah.
seen anybody
Fun.
with
I
it.
had a coworker when I was working at a an aquarium store that had one, and you know, you guys have to understand. Whenever you look at pictures like this here, you have to understand that this screen on this phone was fucking huge compared
On
to
this phone, yeah.
We're talking about the Nokia phone. It was literally a postage stamp. Like it is smaller than the lens of my glasses by a wide margin. Okay, so to have a phone that had what was effectively kind of a pseudo vertical screen built into it that big was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, to have a phone that for the first time ever, it's playing actual games, not
games,
like Snake
100%.
or Tetris or anything like that. Like these are
was
real
a phone
games.
made for it. Yeah, this is a phone made for games. Games made for this phone.
In fact, the device not like today where our phones are mostly from an app store. You buy the game and so on, you download it. These actually came. You got cartridges.
Oh, did
the
they have
games
cards?
Yes, they
that's
did.
Weird.
So you would have to buy, and there's actually people out there who collect this phone and its games because they're game collectors. It's crazy. I've watched them on YouTube.
I can't imagine that there are any collector's items though. Like we had them falling out of our ears at GameStop. There was one store that sold like a copy a month, and eventually we packed up all of our copies and sent it to them because their one game a month was by far the most of any GameStop in the nation.
That's incredible.
I can believe that.
So to give you guys a bit of a perspective against existing phones, this phone came with the Symbian operating system at the time, and it had 3.4 megabytes of internal storage.
Oh, whoa!
Unbelievable.
Powerhouse.
So you can save your game
Remember,
or have
1,000 megabytes per gig, just for the record.
Yeah.
Here.
So exactly. Thank you, Howard. So you basically it was like a tiny amount, 3%, 4%. So other capabilities of this device was MP3 music playback, video playback, and of course video games based off cartridges.
Mm-hmm.
The device retailed for $299 US.
Oh man,
God.
that's what I just bought a Switch for.
And in 2002 or whatever else, that was actually more.
Can
than
you make
Yeah,
a
that's
call on the
expensive.
Switch?
That.
Can you hold the Switch on the end and talk to somebody? I don't think so.
So
Now, as I
wish.
recall, just for the record, if you want to talk to somebody when you're playing on the Switch, you have to have a mobile phone.
Engage.
Now,
Point taco phone.
Now,
now
does
let's
anybody know-
talk about the grandfather of modern mobile gaming.
hold on. Zez says my mom wanted that just for the games, not even for the phone.
That is what I wonder. Like, what was like the flagship game for it? Did it come out? I don't really know.
So okay, before you begin, CZ, I'm going to read off the quick little list, and this is just a snippet of the games I found online. Bomberman, Call of Duty, Crash Nitro Kart, Civilization, Elder Scrolls Travel, Shadowkey, Tony Hawk, Pro Skater. The Elder Scrolls game is actually a rare game and worth a lot of money now. Crazy. They eventually killed off the N-Gage in 2010.
Wait a minute.
It's longer
Go
than
back.
I thought it would have
It
lasted.
lasted to 2010?
Yep, 3 years after the iPhone came out, it died.
I am shocked.
That's an impressive
Hold
run.
on. I just got to point this out from the wiki for the Engage. There are some disagreements in sources about the actual number of Engages sold. Nokia initially claimed 400,000 sales in the first 2 weeks of availability. However, independent research says it's more like 5,000.
Yeah, that sounds way more like it to me.
That's more like it.
That sounds more like it.
Right, Zez? It lasted that long, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk. Like I said, let's move on
ahead.
to the granddaddy of modern phone gaming, the original iPhone.
Okay.
Now we're talking more my language here.
Hold on. The original iPhone didn't have game apps for it because this was going to be a world where you didn't need apps for your phone.
So
Remember that?
Yeah.
I totally do,
Jobs.
but I'm not saying anymore. I'm leaving it up to one of you two.
To be fair, I don't know much about the original iPhone. I've never been an iPhone
When the
user.
original iPhone first came out, it was in its own right a revolutionary device in that it was a full screen touch screen device that you could use this to touch it and interact with it as opposed to a shitty stylus or anything else. which was amazing. And it was a device it was actually purpose built not only to be a phone functionally, but also a communication device on other aspects like messaging services and whatnot. And also, to complete the trifecta, internet. To connect via the internet, actually look at web pages and so on. You'll notice in the great trifecta there I'm talking about, gaming was not actually mentioned on the original iPhone because they're not built for gaming.
Yep.
There were no apps for it. Steve Jobs said there's no reason for it. You had web applets, that was good enough, you were golden. That changed. That very much changed. And all of a sudden, iTunes started playing host not only to music, but also started playing to the world of applications. And of course, if you're going to have an application, what's the first thing you make for a mobile device?
Business apps.
No, a fart app. Duh.
Of course. Yeah, right.
There's farm. I was like,
I don't need an app for that.
There's always an app. Mark my words. Anytime there was ever a program that came out for like a mobile device, it was a fart app first. But games followed. So I will argue with you, CZ, in that it wasn't so much iPhone was built for games. It was games were built for the iPhone.
Well,
the iPhone
but
never
what I'm
intended
saying
that
is it's the
because-
granddaddy of our what we're discussing today, the gaming phones of today. It's the grandfather to those.
Des and Spock
Yeah,
were saying something.
the iPhone never intended for that because the N-Gage came out and failed horrifically.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty clear
Make people gun
video
shy.
games and phones were not things that were going to go together. Like, very obviously and clearly, these things were not meant for each other. And then all of a sudden, this iPhone comes out and some dude's like, oh, maybe I will make a game for it.
I just want to point out that the Snake was a smash hit on the Nokia.
It's probably available on the
Don't
iPhone.
have that game, just saying.
So hold
It
on.
is, but it's not the same, correct?
Let me take a quick poll. Everyone who's here, hands up who has owned an iPhone. Okay.
Well,
Interesting.
I had an iPod Touch. Does that count?
Oh, you had
Android
the
for
format
life,
iPhone.
was just curious.
I'm an Android user, to be fair.
I've used iPhone since the 3G, I think.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah.
I've used it since the 3G
You haven't
too.
wised up
Yep.
yet?
Do what?
Wised up yet?
No, I haven't. I still love the iPhone.
Hey,
I don't.
Hey. By the end of the night, I can pretty much guarantee I can sell you on an Android phone after tonight.
Look forward
now.
to it.
Yeah, well, shots fired.
Yeah. I've always been a Mac guy too. I mean, so that's kind of just been part of why I've been
too.
that. Like I've used Apple computers since I was literally 5 years old and never owned a PC.
Yeah.
Nonetheless,
I'm with you, Jared. I'm with you.
Thank you, Kira.
No
the
problem.
wonderful thing here, though, is that with the iPhone, and it basically what really was a revolutionary platform compared to what was already out there. The best thing we had at that point was Windows Mobile on like the HTC Tilt, which, by the way, I also have that one. I know exactly where that one's at, but it's way up in my shop, so I'm not going to get it right now.
To be fair, we also did have Symbian because we did have the Sidekick.
Well, yeah, but we also had Palm. But I'm not going to mention that because it was a sorry site.
But as a pseudo smartphone operating system, it was a very useful system.
Yes.
In fact, the Sidekicks lasted for a long time because they actually had they had translator systems for the hearing impaired. Because they had such a large screen, it was easy for people who couldn't hear to type everything out.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They had a huge following.
You remember BlackBerry's vain attempt to write the iPhone off because it doesn't have physical keys. Nobody's gonna want to type on that. Who's gonna want to put fingerprints all over this screen? That's just silly.
All right.
But here's the thing.
Seriously.
Whether you're an iPhone fanatic or an Apple fanatic or an Android lover or a Windows loyalist or whatever, the format was what was critical here, because the format is really what was the foundation and made gaming truly accessible. You had a much more sensitive, much more functional, adaptive touch screen as opposed to the resistive touch screens of days of yore. If you don't know the difference between a resistive versus a capacitive touch, look it up. It's really interesting. The screens we have now, it just senses you barely touch it, it knows it's there. Capacitive was wonderful. Resistive touch screens were like you had to press your finger into the screen to get freaking work. So that platform, having a solid piece of glass that sensed your fingers touch and multiple touch for that matter. I can do this and understands this. Mm-hmm. That's what laid it. And whether you follow the iPhone path or follow the Android path as it matured, this is what has become the status quo now of what is a mobile device. And for good or for ill, it has become a wonderfully functional system for gaming, especially with the power that comes out of the ARM processing architecture. Now you've got a mobile device that is literally got just gads of power in it to run games, a beautiful screen, grateful touch. Well, I say a beautiful screen, but let's be honest here. Even something as cool as like the phone I've got here, which is a Pixel 2 XL, it's got like a 60 hertz refresh. It's got a pretty fine screen. It's nice. I mean, really and honestly, if I'm going to be fair here, gaming on a actual true mobile device that's got like 4K capacity and whatnot is better, just because of that. Because in the end, this device, even though it is meant to be functional, so you can play games among other things, it's still meant to be a multi-purpose device. But now, seemingly, a decade, a couple of years after the failure of the N-Gage, now we've got actual purpose-built mobile gaming devices. Mm-hmm. They're back. We actually have people building mobile devices where the first thought in their head is for gaming. And this blows me away.
They can still make calls. They can still do what a phone does.
Oh, yeah.
Right. That's the distinction.
Starting off with the Razer phone.
That's what I was about to bring up.
Yeah, because the Razer phone was the first one out that was in the gaming category. One of the two main draws to this one, first of all, it still uses a standard LCD screen, but you can crank that thing up to 120 hertz. Yeah. And well, not only does the refresh rate crank, the response of the monitor of the screen cranks up with it. The people that I've seen that have reviewed it said they crank it up to 120 and leave it there because when they go to swipe to get to their messages, the phone is there every time.
Wow.
The other thing that really stands out on this phone is its integrated RAM. It's got 8 gig of RAM. That's modern. That's modern computer.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
To put it in perspective, the iPhone X only has 3 gig. The Samsung Galaxy S9 has 6.
Lame.
Point Razer.
It's crazy to me just how much we realized at one point, like the N-Gage was created specifically for gamers to have a phone. But what it seems like people realized is that people have a phone. Now let's make a casual game. Like I think that the problem that the N-Gage had was that they wanted hardcore gamers to come in and be able to play their Counter-Strikes and their, whatever else on the N-Gage, and then also use it as a phone. What they didn't do is like, hey, here is, and then Jared already talked about this, here is your phone, and also, hey, here's a 2-minute demo game if you guys want to try this out, if you guys want to test it, and if you're obsessed, you can buy it. But then at that point, we suddenly realized that there was a market for casual gamers. There was a huge market out there for people who want to play games for 2 minutes at a time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, And it's worth noting that it seems almost serendipitous that they have come out with this gaming phone, and there are others that have followed, which we'll talk about in a second here. But you also notice that there's a boatload of people that are now jumping on the mobile platform. Like, for example, Fortnite. You may have heard of this game.
Yeah.
It's compatible. It's not even like here's a mobile version that's kind of neutered and you play with a bunch of bots. No, this is like, hey, I'm going to jump on my Xbox or I'm going to jump on my PC and I'm going to get sniped by some asshole on his Pixel.
Yeah, it's so true.
I mean, if you could pull off a snipe on a Pixel, that's good.
Yeah. You know, so
and
people, it's not just casual anymore.
Yeah.
No.
One of the things I had hidden in my hidden in the wings here, Square Enix has really jumped on board with the mobile gaming. You've got Chrono Trigger. You've got most of the Final Fantasy series. You even have the Dragon Quest series.
I have Dragon Quest 8 on my phone right now.
Yeah.
Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic is on iOS.
Oh yes, that's right.
You didn't have to tell me that.
You can play KOTOR on your phone.
I didn't need to know that.
It's there. You can do it.
You know, Secret of Mana's out on.
Oh gosh.
Although the updated version.
$7.99 on the Play Store.
Okay, so there's another thing. Here's another thing that's worth pointing out here is that not only are you getting these incredible like gaming focused first mobile devices, but if you look at the price tag of that Razr compared to say the price tag of an iPhone 10 or a Pixel 2 XL, the fucker is cheaper.
Yeah.
I can get a goddamn gaming phone with a better refresh rate. Granted, battery life isn't quite as good, but better refresh.
Actually, it does have a 4,000 milliamp hour battery.
It does. However, with a full LCD display that's running at 120
hertz, it's going to suck that power.
It will kill the battery in half a day. They've done tests. I'm not going to argue it. I'm just going off of what it told me to test.
I was going to say, the other contender we have in the arena does have an answer for that too.
Yep.
Yes, that's true.
But here's the other thing: is not only can you get a gaming phone that's actually cheaper than a regular phone.
Oh, for a flagship phone.
Games are cheaper. Games are orders into cheaper. We're talking about $6.99 versus $60.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's insane.
Now to be fair,
huge library.
They're ports. They're all ports of older games. Dragon Quest 8 is a PS2 game, and it's a port of it, so it's not really like you're buying a new game.
Isn't like the Dragon Quest 8 the port of the 3DS version, not the PS2
maybe
version?
Maybe it is. It's my point is it's still like buying Breath of the Wild for $60 on the Switch is a little different than getting a game that came out originally 16 years ago. You know, it's a little different. They wouldn't be able to sell it for the same price.
But okay, so
I don't know. You know, like I said, it's out on Dragon Quest 8 is out on 3DS. It's still $40.
But there are mobile
3DS doesn't lower they don't lower their prices.
there are mobile specific games that are very, very, very fun. And to be fair, a large plethora of mobile games also are not only cheap but even free. Matter of fact, mobile gaming embraced the architecture of a free-to-play with in-game purchase well before you started seeing it bleed into PC or into Xbox or PlayStation. Yeah. Two of the favorites I have played on my game that I have actually legitimately sunk hours into has been Fallout Shelter and Hyper Heroes. Everybody knows about Fallout Shelter. If you haven't played it, play it. It's fun. But Hyper Heroes, if you like kind of like little RPG type games, this game's fun because all the little characters are you go into a battle. It's your little party of characters against the mobs, but it isn't like this turn-based where your guy steps forward and does X amount of damage to one target. You actually like pull the little character back, and they bounce all over the screen. And depending on how you pull them and how
That's
they bounce,
fun.
some of them bounce off of mobs, some go through mobs. I mean, it's neat, and it makes the game very unique. And this is a game that's made for mobile, and I have sunk hours into this stupid game.
I'm gonna check it out.
But games like that, they're fun. Even the ports of the older titles like Final Fantasy are fun. But from my experience, and to be fair, I have not gone out and bought a gaming mobile device like the Razer to test it. But from my experience, anything I have wanted to play plays just fine on this. And this leads us into kind of the focus of tonight's show, which is,
what do you have?
This is a Pixel 2 XL.
Got it.
Do we really need a gaming phone?
Like an actual dedicated gaming device. It's basically a 1080T with a screen stuck on it, right?
Well,
so let's. I want to talk about this, and CZ. I want to get your thoughts on this first because you've done a little research on this. So, just first of all, yes or no? Do we need a gaming mobile device?
Yes. The answer to that question, simply put, is yes.
Okay, so you say yes. Jared, just off the cuff, what do you think? Yes or no?
I say no. But that's for me personally.
Don't money it.
So no. No.
Dez?
No.
Fox?
I'm in the no camp.
Kirok?
I'm in the yes.
Oh,
I'm also a no. So we got two yesers here. So now, please, for us and everybody at home.
So now, please.
And please, guys,
Go
in
away.
the chat, please let us know. What are your thoughts? Yes or no right now, before we get into it, yes or no? Zez, I know you're watching. Yes or no? Let us know here. I want CZ to convince us. If you're,
you don't need a mobile phone.
You guys can high five tag team here. You can throw chairs if you need to. I want you to bully up on us and prove to us that, by God, we need these devices and we need them to mature even further, become even more.
So, okay, I'll start off. The reason I went with the yes is I'm looking at it more from a standpoint of, yes, it is a gaming-focused phone. So when they design it, they're building it in mind for gaming, and it also happens to make calls. However, if you don't have a company like, let's say, Razer, or a company like the other one that you were talking about, CZ, is it Acer? Asus.
See,
If you don't have like big mainstream companies getting into that playground, then no one else will take notice and no one else will bother making the move. So I'm looking at it specifically for the advancement of technology in mobile devices. Do you get what I'm saying? Like
So,
for instance,
we don't have five-wheeled cars because nobody's made one. So we need a major player like Ford to make a five-wheeled car. So people will pay attention and buy a five-wheeled car and make
Touch
them.
ID was around for the longest time, but never made it really into phones that successfully until it was on an iPhone 6.
Oh,
That's my point.
God!
Then it was everywhere. Once it was on the iPhone 6, it went on the back. I'm not saying that was done better. I'm just saying a big game player got in, did it. It wasn't a new technology they did. It's been existing previously, and now it's mainstream. So that's how I'm looking at the gaming phones personally.
So the importance of a gaming phone is the Me Too crowd, is what you're saying.
No
I
comment.
know, Jared's looking convinced here,
Help me,
but
CZ, help.
I'm not.
I'm not convinced at all.
It's a good point, but yeah, I'm still no.
CZ, have a go at it. Tag Kirok out. He needs to get a drink of water or something.
I do see where he's coming from. We need to, the furthering of the hardware is one of the main reasons that I want to see gaming phones exist.
Certainly.
Because let's face it, these phones are steps ahead of flagship phones. Of what, a $1,000 flagship phone, hardware-wise, these are steps ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Better display.
They have chips in them for RAM and a high-resolution screen that drains batteries. I
Well,
question.
Okay.
The ROG has a 90 hertz AMOLED screen. It's got a dock that is it's a mobile dock that you can plug in full-size keyboard, full-size mouse, and a full-size monitor. Lock the phone in. Suddenly, you have a PC.
So it's a Switch.
Because you can actually conversate on the phone and play a game at the same time with the phone, unlike the Switch. You still need the dock on the Switch.
One of the things I was I was hesitating to bring up, but you forced my hand.
Oh no!
Is also Razer's Project Linda. Project Linda is a 13.3-inch laptop that's powered by the Razer phone. You actually lock the Razer phone in, it becomes the trackpad, but the actual laptop has an additional battery pack to keep the phone rapidly charge the phone and keep it charged, plus has additional storage for it.
Yep.
Huh.
And how much is that though?
Well, okay, so there is a cost to peripherals as always. Actually, it's not too bad. Now, people will probably scream at the screen and remind us that there have been dockable phones in the past, so that's not a sole thing. But I will agree with you, CZ, in that this is important because this is where I see the future of phones going, and I think, as in many cases, I will point out that I believe that a lot of advancement in CPU technologies and RAM technologies and of course graphics technologies in PCs were a direct result of the booming gaming market in the 90s. Computers advanced as quickly as they did in a lot of areas because games were popular. And I agree with you in that.
I thought it was porn.
Stepping back to the ROG for a second, the other interesting add-on that the ROG offers, they offer their Pro adapter, and similar to having a dock, it also adds Ethernet capability to the phone. So you can have an Ethernet connection instead of having to use Wi-Fi.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang.
There's also one of the other units adds the new Wi-Fi AD standard. For 4.6 gigabit Wi-Fi to a phone.
Great. So we have the ability to plug it into the wall just in time for it to be irrelevant when wireless is actually fast enough. Yay!
Okay. Here's what I will say as a guy who said no a few minutes ago. You've swayed me to I don't know. Swayed me to a maybe. Okay, because here's what I'll say. We never would have known a desire for this type of mobile gaming until somebody took a chance. We never would have, like, a game like Clash of Clans makes millions of dollars
every day,
but we never would have known that until somebody tried and took those steps. ARG is a big thing right now on phones with like Pokemon Go and things like that. And but it drains your battery to crap and whatever else. And just to have a phone that's more geared toward that, there's possibility there that we don't even know. And so I'll say, I don't know. Maybe it will come out like the N-Gage and it'll flop horrifically, or maybe it'll be something brand new that we need. But you guys make good points in that there were things that we would have said, no, we do not need this. That's ridiculous. Mobile gaming, that's silly. We have Game Boys and Game Gears and everything else.
The Game Gear.
Right.
Atari Lynx.
I absolutely agree with you. But here's the thing. And this is my concern about things, is that we had those kind of things. You have to remember that back in the day, we had a device that made phone calls. We also had a device that took pictures. We also had a device that did other things. And here's the problem. They were all different devices, and now they've all been kind of eaten up. Once the iPhone came out and had a phone that had a good camera built into it, all of a sudden, prosumer and below started falling off in popularity for cameras because you had a near equal quality for digital cameras built in. So you started kind of absorbing these things, and this is exactly where I think you're going with this, Des, is that you are getting to a point where this is just another piece of the puzzle where the phones start absorbing everything else. And when you start thinking about what Component's saying in terms of there's a dockable station for this phone, whether it's a laptop or just a dock with your 4K TV, keyboard, and mouse, again, these devices are getting smart enough, powerful enough, and capable enough that they can give any Intel system a run for its money for a large majority of the games that are out there to play. I'm not saying that these phones can keep up with my i7 16 gigabytes right now.
Right.
But they're going that direction.
Despite what I tell myself, size does matter. and a bigger area will allow for more power.
And here, Fox, imagine the idea of having I know it's a crazy concept here, but stay with me. A mobile device that you can start playing a game and then come home and dock it in a station and play it on your TV.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, you mean like when you could play the old Pokemon games through the GameCube or through way back? I remember.
Hey,
the Super Game Boy.
To be fair, another neat thing about the ROG phone is you don't actually have to dock it to play it on the TV. They actually have a controller, a set of controllers that dock to it, and
lawsuit.
Yeah, Switch style here. But it also supports wireless display. So if you have a wireless display capable TV, you don't even have to have the dock to play on the TV. It'll natively do it.
All right, can I make the no argument? Because I got a few things.
Okay, let's hear them.
Go.
I mean, one real quick.
So anyway, as I was saying,
it just sounds like everything that you're saying as a positive for it is just things that other gaming systems already do. Like, it's great because it'll be more like your PlayStation. You can play it on a big screen, or your PC system. You can put a keyboard in. Like, okay, I already have those. I don't need this. And two, for me, the big no reason is it sounds like it's advancing the parts of gaming that to me are not important. The hardware capability of gaming has never really been a big deal to me. Like, I keep up so I can play the new games because for some people, like, graphics are a big deal. So if I want to play a PC game that's relevant or current, then I need to have those systems. But to me, gaming is an art form first and foremost, and the mobile realm of gaming has never been for me a place to find those games that like I connect with as a human being. It's always been 99.9% of the time, probably 100%, a either distraction or time killer, or just like I'm bored, so I'm gonna play some Brick Breaker real quick. But then when I get home, I go play Horizon Zero Dawn, or I play Zelda Breath of the Wild. The parts of gaming that I find a little more important. So being able to play these mobile games on a big screen is kind of like, oh, cool. I still can't play the games that I find that are advancing the really important part of gaming.
I understand where you're coming from, and I feel you there, but I think this is going a different direction in terms of how these systems are going to work. And I'm actually going to put Jared on the hot seat here in a minute to give him a hard time. But first, I want to hear Kirok respond to you because I think I know where he's going.
Yeah. So all I can remember from back in the days when I had my GameCube, that I wanted console quality graphics in my hand, and not just that, I wanted to take that game that I played on my console away with me and then come back and play it on the TV. The Switch is the first thing ever that has actually really done that.
Right.
Hell, back in the day, I pulled a GameCube apart and tried to figure out how to miniaturize the guts.
Sure.
Okay.
Ben Heckendorf. Watch his show.
There you go.
He's done everything.
Exactly. So when you mention what you're mentioning, I get it in the sense that this is usually more a time waster or a time killer, not really where you want to go to get your gaming experience. But I remember when I had my iPhone 4, which was one of the first Retina display phones, I would play some games on that thing, and I was blown away. I was like, man, this is better than PS2.
Come on. Like, you can't honestly tell me you guys watch. I forget which iPhone release it was. But there was one iPhone release where they showed some gameplay of some medieval sword swinging action.
Yeah.
You cannot tell me that not every single person who saw it went, oh.
Yes, but see, I still think the Switch is way better than this in the sense that it includes that kind of good-looking graphics as you can get on an iPhone, but you could just take that same game, pop it in. So the thing that the crux of it is it's not another washed down game of the console. It's the game, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that kind of talks towards what you were just saying, but at the same time, that's what I've been dying for. I've been dying for a console game that I can take away and then come back and play the console.
I agree with you. Now, again, the thing you have to keep in mind,
but that's not a phone. That's not a phone. So,
you're right, Kirok. You're right, but you have to understand that when you're talking about a mobile device that you can play games on, that is a bigger circle. And yes, if you do a Venn diagram, there's going to be phones here in the Switch / Vita, and there's going to be a lot of overlap. But the thing is that's with these phones coming out,
it's kind of melding that into one.
It's bringing those two circles overlapping a lot more.
Yeah.
Now, Jarrett,
Yes.
Here's the question for you, because we're talking about, do we really need these devices? But my question to you is more along the lines of, what's going to happen to dedicated semi-mobile or mobile game devices like the Vita, like the Switch? Where's Nintendo? If these things catch on, is Nintendo's great breakthrough going to be a flash in the pan?
I don't think it'll be a flash in the pan. If anything, it'll be how we refer to the iPhone earlier in this conversation as the grandfather of it, because I think I don't think the Switch is going anywhere anytime soon. I think it's it really did bring something new and fresh into the gaming industry and the gaming world and how games are shared and played. And so no, I don't think it'll be a flash in the pan at all. What was the second part of that? I got in on that, and then I got
the Nintendo phone is that next.
Okay, so will they make
step.
if anything, they might do a little bit better of a way where they do create some way of doing like a cloud save thing where you could take your 3DS game and put it to your and be able to access that same save onto the Switch itself. And so Kirok, I agree with a lot with what you were saying in that. And Fox, with what you're saying too about how it's the type of game that's being offered on, say, the Razer phone is not the type of game that I'm going to want to be playing. Whereas I would love it. Now, if they came up and said, here's, I know it's not going to happen just because of exclusivity, but here's Horizon Zero Dawn on the Razer phone. You can play it and then take it home. You save the game on the phone and then you log into your PS4 and hey, guess what? You're at your exact same save. That would be amazing. And that would make a case for maybe, why this phone would be a thing. But at the same time, no, for me, no, I don't. The types of games are, they're time killers, they're distractions. I need to pick up something for 2 minutes and then put it down. I'm not. I've tried playing bigger, longer games on them. I've tried Fortnite on mobile. It's terrible. I don't understand why anyone plays.
Well, just for curiosity's sake, is it just the controls that make it terrible, or the actual game itself?
The controls. I mean, it actually runs pretty smoothly and looks really good. It's the whole thing of you have to have. I don't even remember exactly how all of them work now, but obviously aiming is very convoluted because you're trying to just like swipe with your phone with your thumb and then tap with your other one, which is also the same thumb that's trying to move you. And so it's a lot of this move, move, stuff instead of the continuous stuff. And then obviously it's still hard to aim.
So again, having the forward dock though, you think about like you're looking at the Rock phone, they have plugins to actually give you controls just like the Switch.
Right.
So these devices, other than the fact that the screen is smaller than the Switch, can virtually act like the Switch.
I feel like
minus the exclusivity.
It can. I feel like. But the big thing for me too is going back to component, what you were saying about the phone, and to build off of Fox's point too about how all these things that you're saying are pluses are things that other things have. Once you add in, say, you got the Razer phone, which looked like the base model is like $700. You get that, then you buy the laptop component on top of it. Then you buy, for on the go gaming, you buy the keyboard and mouse peripheral plugins and all that stuff. You're well over $1,000 at that point.
Yeah. It's a pretty big price point here.
Whereas you can buy a PS4 now for $300, $250 to $300 somewhere in there, depending on which one you want to do. You can even buy now a pretty solid 4K TV for like 32-inch 4K TV for $250 to $300 too. That's the price, less than the price of the Razer phone right there.
We bought our 60-inch 4K TV for $350. So.
Damn.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Black Friday. Thank you, Black Friday.
So I understand the points, and I understand the points that are being made about like how this could change things and it could open up new avenues. And I'm sure, as with everything else, the more the technology advances, the cheaper it gets. Just for where it's at right now, the type of games and experiences I can have on the console, so much, and the price point so outweigh the experience that I could have on the Razer phone.
Kirok is making me so sad right now. Can we please all listen to Kirok?
Well, I was going to say, it's worth doing it. When the iPhone first came out, the price seemed a little bit extreme for something that was a complete untested, unproven platform.
Right.
Just putting that out there. Kirok,
Right. Gotcha.
you want to respond. I can see it in your eyes.
So I'm going to respond, but it's more of a comment towards these phones, such as the Asus ROG and the Razer phone.
Yeah.
So I'm in the yes, because I want the hardware to progress. I want that to become a standard or something where other big guys or big players in the field go, hey, they're doing it, let's do it too, because it's going to be something that's mainstream, or hopefully it is. But I think where it's going to fall flat is the games. I honestly think that's where it's going to fall flat, because what am I going to do? Buy the Asus ROG with the extra connection and Ethernet to play what? Clash of Clans?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what?
You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
the store is going to have to offer games. There's going to have to be a Steam store for phones or something like that.
Okay, so you're right, Kirok. You're absolutely right. There is a shortcoming there. But that said, I am going to point to one last thing here, and then we'll go do final thoughts. First of all, again, we've talked about how mobile technology is getting better and better and better. The ARM architecture, for example, is actually being used in server class systems now.
Wow.
Because the architecture is that mature. So we're starting to see a real line blur. And it's also worth noting that Intel is kind of losing their lunch right now to ARM. Okay? More importantly, you couple that with something that has an avid connection to the internet. And although I know not everybody has clean connectivity, especially wireless connectivity where they go. That said, wireless connectivity is far more mature than it ever has been in the past. And there are more and more discussions and or games that are out now or coming out or slated to come online that are streaming games. So whether you're playing it on your phone, docked or undocked, or on your Xbox, or even on your PC, you're basically playing the exact same game.
Yeah.
It is run by the
point. I didn't
exact
even
same
think of that.
hardware on the back end. At that point,
And there
device.
comes the Ethernet cable.
But,
You got
this is getting better. Even with the 5G that's coming out, whatever they're actually going to really be is for standards. We're getting to a point now where at this point you're worrying less about the technical specs of the device and more about the functionality of the device. And we are increasingly becoming a society where the device we have becomes part of us. There's actually studies they've talked about how telling a millennial to put down their phone and not use it is kind of, it seems like duh to us old people like myself, but to them it'd be like telling me to say don't use your right hand. Why? It's there and it's functional. I jokes aside, it really does become a defining element. I mean, there is a certain definition. We've become a lot less associated to an operating system that we use, and more of a garden that we're in. I'm a very Google centric person. Kirok is a very Apple centric person. You know, and the devices kind of adhere to that. But as we start getting into that realm of crossplay, if Sony will ever stop dicking its following and actually just get on board, it becomes less relevant about that and more relevant just about having the access to the game. To be able to go over to Dez's house and just throw the game up on his 4K TV that costs less than the phone did, or whatever the case may be. So you're getting to a point now where it's all about just being connected. And with all due respect, Fox, unless you're going to get an awesomely long extension cord and throw your PS4 in your car with you to play at stoplights, it's not going to be as functional. It's just not.
I've done that.
It's like, I don't understand the issue here.
Wait,
So-
you say that if it's as if it's a bad thing. Oh man.
With that, guys, I want to go ahead and get things wrapped here, but I want to go through and do final thoughts. So I'm going to start up at the I guess the bottom corner here with Fox. Fox, are you still in the no category?
Yeah, I think I'm still pretty firmly in the no category. Like I said, the games, I mean, I can play all the Final Fantasy ports on Steam already. There's not really so far been, there's never been a mobile game that I've been like, wow, this is amazing and I have to play it. It's not really my.
You were talking about Blades like that like a month ago at E3.
It piqued my interest. Sure, I'll probably play it, but like I'm not going to get the same experience from Blades that I would get from Hellblade.
Right.
It's gonna be another like
You would bring
distraction.
Senua into this.
I would. It's gonna be cool, maybe, and then I'll be like, oh, and then probably forget about it after like a week. That's just how it goes for me.
Okay. Dez, is he wrong or right?
I think, well, he's always wrong.
I'm always wrong.
That's really the truth here. That's how we make a channel together, is
Yeah.
I just know that he's wrong. But I'm still sitting in this camp right now of, I don't know, I want someone to try. Because here's the reality of it. We're talking about a lot of things, and we're actually going back and forth. Some people suddenly change and defend the yes, and then go back and defend the no. Like, we're all kind of going back and forth, because the reality of it is, we don't know right now. There's a lot of potential in this. And I think that getting a dedicated phone gaming system will give new opportunities to developers, new opportunities to publishers, to what they're going to support. I mean, I was just thinking, I whispered to Fox over here, what if there was like a first-party phone? What if there was, Kirok mentioned it, I was joking, but what if there was the Nintendo phone? Like, that could be really interesting, and there could be some really cool stuff there. So I don't know if we need it, but I want someone to try.
So we need an X phone, is what you're saying.
You've got the X bone.
How about the X phone?
Zez in chat says Hellblade for the win.
Yeah.
Yes, all of the Hellblade. Let's just
Jared.
talk about Hellblade now.
No spoilers, please. I haven't got to it yet.
Are you still in
on
the
my
no camp?
I am. I'm still on the no on that one. But honestly, I could leave it. Any points I would give it just be mere repeating of what everybody else has said. But so I'll just leave it with prove me wrong. But
A challenge.
It's me holding a mug.
Right.
Fair enough. And of course, we'll jump to the other side of the argument here, which is going to be CZ, who is sounds like a pretty staunch hell yes, we need this.
Yes. And I am going to go on record as saying the Asus ROG actually has better specs than the Switch. More storage, more RAM, better mobile processor. Just saying.
He's got to take those swipes.
I want them to. That's what I need.
No, you're absolutely right. There are, you look at specs again. I'm not sure specs are really the most critical thing here, but I think pushing the limits of what a non-plugged-in device can do. And this is not even just for gaming, but again, just the connectivity of it, I think, is critical. The fact that they can do so much more is impressive in that regard. And finally, Kirok, I'm pretty damn sure if you decide to do your end of year predictions, the Nintendo phone's probably not going to be a good one for you. I'm just saying.
I don't know. Yeah,
trying to help you out here.
So I'm still going to say yes. I mean, could you imagine Facebook on that phone?
No one.
Farmville at 120 hertz.
No, I'm still going to say yes for the betterment of mankind.
The grass growing, man.
I want the technology to move forward, and that's my main reason for saying yes. But they really need to do something about that. I think that's the only thing that would really hurt it. If they're sitting there after they make a phone like that and wondering why it didn't take off, they're dumb. I'm sorry. They need to come up with an app store, but not just an app store with all these indie type games and all these time wasters. They need to come out with games that are games that gamers would want to play.
Yeah,
right.
Mobile.
Well,
So
like a Steam for phone.
Yeah. Watch Steam do it. Well, watch Valve do it.
Yeah,
Valve could
that
probably
would be
do it.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, they
I'm
released Half-Life 3 on Steam Mobile. I'm buying that game. I'm buying that system. I'm buying that phone.
I want to wrap this up, but God, I feel like there's a couple things here that need to be pointed out, and there's things like Steam. If Steam decides to get the gumption to adapt into the mobile market, which I'm honestly kind of shocked they haven't, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That could be a real
game changer.
Fun, but game changer.
Literally, yeah.
When it comes to how people perceive these phones. So, and what seems kind of odd because it's like, you guys have a partnership with a company on another platform, being VR, who also just happen to do mobble phones.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Yep.
Yeah. Come on, HTC. Where's your game phone?
Let's think about this for a minute here, because I think that's another part of it. Is like, a lot of the arguing points that Fox has brought up that have been mentioned here is that even though mobile phones are becoming more popular and capable of running past titles of PC or consoles, or to sort of play with current games like Fortnite, it's not the same game experience, and it's playing an older title. It's not playing current stuff. But now what we're trying to say is it can get to that point, and I think there needs to be a platform that can support that. And again, Steam is also the people who have done the beaming ability, so they can actually stream games from your PC to your TV or things like that. They have a mobile box that you put on your entertainment center, so you can play Steam games on your TV. So there's a lot of different pieces there that just feel like they're not quite
there
talking to each other.
Yeah, they haven't come together quite right yet.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe we're at a point where we need to give it a little time or a little encouragement in terms of seeing if some of these different people are going to kind of watch and learn, and maybe start saying, okay, the gaming mobile devices are coming out. We need the support for them in terms of the ability for them to be more versatile. So we want them to avidly say, I'm going to go on a limb here, but maybe have a standard for connecting to a large TV. So instead of having a proprietary wireless mode or a proprietary dock or something like that, just everybody say, listen, here's a dock that we have USB-C. It's become quite universal.
Yeah. Well,
and it does have to push video.
To be fair, there actually is a wireless standard for displays. It's WIDI.
Yeah,
it's wireless display.
Wireless transmission of visual, there is. But most of these systems kind of start out with their own, and to be fair, usually it's proprietary only because they're trying to hack something together that really doesn't quite work just right yet. But if they can get a standard down and it gets a major player on board like Steam to start avidly hosting games that are meant for that platform of sorts.
Yep.
It might be something to look at. I mean, does anybody find it kind of weird that Steam hasn't just bothered saying, hey, you've got the Android store and the iPhone store. We'll just have the Steam store, and you can install Steam on your phone and side load games through that. I mean, Amazon does it. You get the Amazon Prime or the Amazon, I forget what they call it, app. And and you can side load games and software onto your Android phone through that program.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So why isn't Steam doing this? And this could be like, they could dominate this and get ahead of it, I would think. I don't know. Nonetheless, that said, I think there's a connection there, and I think the fact that you've got a mobile device that is powerful enough to run a lot, and even I could see in the near future, especially with technology like inside-out tracking, the ability to have a very functional, as near to functional as first-generation Vive Oculus Rifts, in your pocket. You could, stick onto your face and have a VR experience anywhere you go, wherever you want to. A la, Ready Player One.
So, okay. So my burning question for you, Warped. What category are you in? Are you in the yes or no category? You actually haven't answered that.
That's true. You haven't.
So thanks for asking. I appreciate it. It's always odd to ask my own questions myself. So me, how do you feel about this? Oh, well, thank you for asking. It's very nice of you. So
that's the only way I find to get intelligent conversation.
Wow. So my answer is going to be a little bit, I'll say ambiguous, but basically, yes, I think we need gaming mobile devices, but not for the sake of gaming. I think that just like with games being a bridge built to advanced PC technologies, I think gaming motivated hardware is going to help bridge to that next level of mobility in hardware. Games are always more demanding than other things. And because of that, when you push a device to keep up with the games, you then have a technology that's going to push to break those boundaries and those barriers that they currently have to make them more functional. So I think we do need them, but it's more for just the general advancement of the technology of mobile, as opposed to, say, for gaming specifically.
Yeah.
So that's a yes.
No, yeah. Yes, technology, not for the same reasons. I'm trying to be fair here. Anyways.
It was a good topic.
It was a good topic, CZ. It
was
actually CZ's recommendation, and it was. I'll be honest with you. I looked at this topic and went, "Can we fill an hour with that?"
We've got an hour and almost 20 minutes.
Yeah. The answer is obviously. and I'm sure we can certainly go on a little more and eke out some other little nuggets and touches here. And again, guys, we certainly do want to get your guys' feedback. And I know Kirok's always dying to see people talking and replying on YouTube and all that. Aren't you, Kirok?
I am. I watched the team podcast episodes and replied to them and stuff. So,
which I appreciate very well.
Yeah,
very
no
much.
problem. So, all right. At this point, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Excuse me. Let's go around and Jarrett, what's coming up for you? What's coming up? Where can people find you as well on the internet?
Let's see. Coming up, Mogan and I, my co-host, we're going to be wrapping up soon our third part in our series of we're going through and actually detailing our top 10 games. So we'll be coming out with that episode for our games 3, 2, and number 1. I also, since I did just finish God of War today, we'll be doing a review episode on that.
Nice.
And then
Fox with you on that.
Yeah, really. I mean, it'll be a whole lot better because Mogan hasn't played it yet, so it would be good. I'm trying to find somebody to fill in on that, so it's not just me talking about it forever. So there we go.
Do it.
And so I think that's pretty much the two big things going on right now. And then let's see where you can find me. You can find the show on podcast services around the web. Team Chat Podcast. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also watch each episode on YouTube and Twitch. So check us out there. And and you can follow me on Twitter at JT Wilson.
Cool. Nice. Des, Fox, how about you guys? What's up? What's coming up for you guys?
We are on YouTube. Des and Fox Play on YouTube. We've got, as always, lots of stuff going on.
Yep.
We have just Let's Plays every single day of various games coming out, both my own personal, his personal, and both of us playing various games.
Together?
Yeah, we've got, we do a lot of those. And then we also have our podcast, which is just on YouTube right now. This month, they come out Mondays. This next episode is kind of similar in the sense that we talked about Google's there's a rumor of Google coming out with their own system.
The Google Yeti.
The Google Yeti.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
Right. And just kind of what would it have to look like for it to be able to compete right now. So that's going to be this Monday, sometime in the afternoon, I think. So look out for that. And then also I've started doing movie reviews. Short ones. I love movies, and most people don't like to hear me rant about them for 20 minutes, so I make the internet listen. So yeah, I started doing that. Whenever I see a movie, I'll just do a short thing. So got a couple up there for that. But
And then coming up, we're going to be working on kind of becoming like a local YouTube gaming hub of just, we're going to a lot of our local game stores and saying, hey, we're a YouTube channel that will be happy to come to your store and film events that you do, or do interviews with you, or even just play games with you, and just being kind of like a Portland local gaming hub for YouTube. So
that's what we're trying to do.
We're trying to do that right now. That's kind of in our future. So
Good. Web gaming.
Well, what was the last movie that you saw?
What was the last one I saw? Superfly.
Oh, I heard about that one.
Yeah, it is a remake of a 70s blaxploitation movie done a little more seriously, and it was mostly pretty good.
all right.
I had some issues. I haven't done a review for it yet. That's probably coming out soon. But
Fox has Movie Pass, and that means that he can see like a movie every day. And
I see all the movies.
Most people are like, there aren't enough movies to see a different one every day. But Fox has found like all the local like indie movie theaters and all the documentary movie theater, whatever.
There's plenty to watch.
He sees all of the movies, literally.
Very cool.
So as far as us being the main host, that's myself, Component, and Warped. I'm going to start off. Basically, at this point, people can find me on like YouTube. I've been posting some videos up there, but mostly stuff I stream. Where I'm really concentrating is streaming. In fact, yesterday was the first day I finally streamed on Twitch after about a 3-month hiatus that started off with some back pain. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, you would have gotten notified, no? You're following, right? Oh, you. So that's pretty much it. Like, I'm going to concentrate more on just streaming, and that's all for now. How about yourself, Component?
YouTube's so last year anyway.
I know YouTube is just it's
dead.
Not in anymore.
You can find me here on the podcast as always. I am the one who does stream the podcast. I also stream my own stuff over at twitch.tv/component_Z.
Yep, I've watched some.
I can't even remember what I was streaming last. And then I hang out in a couple of other channels. But I'm usually floating around the internet somewhere. And Warped, where can we find you?
Nowhere.
So,
Nowhere.
So Warped, as he mentioned at the very beginning of this stream. Sorry, hang on. Zez just wrote something. It was an early stream too, right, Kirok? I'm not sure, man. Oh, mine? Yeah, it was an early stream. I got a chance to start off around 9 instead of 11.
I thought
But
I
going
streamed
back
something other than Airship.
I don't know. So going back to Warped, I want to say, because right now, as Warped mentioned at the beginning of the podcast or the stream, it's his last episode with us on
The sea
on Defective Discourse.
I don't know if anyone's going to get that. Nobody's going to get that reference.
Yeah, Warped is just like laughing. And
Jester's off to the Great Havens.
So,
God.
So if
Let
you
any
don't
Linux
already
senior
know,
to this,
Warped is taking a step back from podcasting. This is why Warped and I kind of close the doors on the BRG podcast. This podcast is going to continue. This podcast / stream, which is Defective Discourse, is going to continue with Component Z and myself. But Warped is stepping away, and dude, I will miss you greatly. I want to say thank you for showing. No, not rest in peace. Thank you for showing me, how to do things differently.
Sleep well with less stress in your life.
It's for like almost 2 years we've been going at it. That didn't sound right. For almost 2 years, I have been at your side, and we have done the podcast together, and I've learned a lot from you, and I want to say thank you, and I will miss you. But you are welcome to come back anytime, and there will be times that I'll call on you. Okay, so I'm looking forward to that.
I'm sure. No, and I really do appreciate, guys, and I appreciate, certainly my co-host here and Kirok, you on the podcast. I appreciate getting the opportunity doing this to meet people like Des and Fox, like Jarrett, great people, and I cannot recommend enough that you guys do make sure you check out their shows. They're an absolute hoot and a half, and I love watching them myself. I will be around on the interwebs, floating about, slipping my ties with CZ, floating around. But I will be like, if you guys go over to the Discord channel for Ball Rock Gaming, I check in there, I say hi, I do stuff there. So you'll be able to find me around. I've got a family and I've got a lot of stuff to have to build. We still need more
moto vlogs.
I have got a boatload of video for the moto vlog, including an accident happened right in front of me like 2 years ago that I still need to get posted. So one of these days I might sit down and actually edit some of that and put it up. I can go on a tirade with a half hour of clips of people going over a double yellow line on a blind turn in front of me.
Oh God.
Anyways,
all right.
I will be on, guys. All you gotta do is look up Warp Jester, all one word, and pretty much about every single thing that comes up in Google is me.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
So last things to basically, Bottle Rocket Gaming is the community we are a part of. The Defective Discourse podcast and stream is part of that community. And I want, guys, check it out, bottlerocketgaming.com. You can check out the website. We do have a Discord that you can actually become a part of. Just look up Bottle Rocket Gaming on Discord, and you'll be able to go in and become a part of the community if you wish. You could even get into stuff like what we're doing here if you wanted. Another
this as well as on the actual website, bottlerocketgaming.com. Just so you know, easy links.
Awesome.
We're still doing the giveaways, aren't we?
Yeah, actually, I think they are. Yeah, I don't know for how long because I think the giveaways, the sales ends on the 5th.
So tell them about it.
Well, I don't know the details because I haven't really been looking at it. Do you mind? I'm sorry.
What do you?
Sure. I mean, all you want to do right now is you want to get over to the BRG Discord channel. Again, go to bottlerocketgaming.com.
Oh, there's a channel in there.
There's a channel in our Discord for Steam Summer Sale giveaway. There's nothing better than a cheap Steam game unless it's a free Steam game. All you have to do is go into that channel, participate, and they'll do things like, give us your worst cat butt picture or whatever, and they'll enter you into the contest.
You have a thing for cat butts, man.
It's weird, and we need to talk about it.
No, we need to not talk about it.
I maintain you mount a GoPro facing your cat's butt and stream it 24/7, you'll have a boatload.
I knew it was coming!
Even a buttload of followers.
I knew that was coming.
Oh my God. And the last two things, guys. We are on Twitch. We are on Twitch, and this is where you're watching us if you're in the stream. Hi, Zez. And then we take these streams that we've done and archive them on our YouTube Bottle Rocket channel, so you can actually go to the YouTube channel and check it out there. And finally, as Warped would say, if you want to support us, you could do things like comment, like the video if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, follow in Twitch. But also, if you don't want to do any of those things, you can support Bottle Rocket by going to patreon.com/BottleRocketGaming and, donating $1, helping us out that way. So, yeah. All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Fox and Des, thank you for joining. Jarrett, much appreciated. And thanks, guys. And we will see you in a month.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Bye for now.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Don't forget to support us on Patreon. Also follow us on Twitter. Thank you for watching and good night. Cheerio.